And very rarely did I ever do a shoot. I honestly think in 21 years, I don't know if I did 12.5 portrait sittings in my studio. I don't think I did. But I used it every single week, and oftentimes into the night many times, figuring out lighting stuff and setting up stuff that I would then take on the road, right? It was like our little rehearsal hall, in a way. So when I do something like this, I really want to see if I can get something that's like a worst scenario lighting setup, right? I want to go to his house, and if everything just falls to pieces and he's crabby and they stall us off and it starts raining, we can't go outside, there's a picture I know I can shoot in like an 8 by 10 foot room with a low ceiling that'll be okay, that I can get a cover. Because like I have to come back with a cover, right? So I set this up, and we actually set this up just outside his kitchen in the photo house. And brought some black velvet back then. And it was no big deal, simple lighting setup, little strobes. And he sits down, and he was a little tired. I mean, it was the last thing we did. He was really nice, but, you know, he's kind of done. As Jay Maisel says, he'd had all the fun he could stand, I think. And I take the picture, and the flash doesn't go, right? So I take another one, and it doesn't go. And so we switch out the pack, and the other pack doesn't go. And then we switch out the head. It still doesn't go, and we're kind of working backwards the wrong way because we're a little flustered, and we're starting the wrong way. And then we switch out the radio sync, and it still doesn't go. And of course, the last thing I do is switch the sync cord, right? The sync cord, and of course that was it. It probably took all 5 minutes, but you know how it is when things are screwing up. It feels like forever for you. It's like the worst. So anyway, I take the picture. It was the sync cord, and I'm starting to shoot, and he sort of chuckles. And I asked him what was so funny. He says, "I've been doing this 30 years. It's always the squiggly wire." It is the squiggly wire every time, right? Like $8,000 in digital gear, and it's the squiggly wire like every time. Jeez. Okay, this was. I'll start off with a bunch of these, then we'll move on. But the time stuff is kind of interesting because so often what you're stuck with is shooting a headshot, right? And a lot of what gets done now, it's like a head's on a white background, and it's fine. I just never thought that was so super interesting because there's so much you can do. This was the organisms of the year. There were 3 in it this time. And it was Bill and Melinda Gates and Bono, because it was more a story about philanthropy. It wasn't, you know, generally about that. And this was shot in a hotel ballroom like this, smaller, in Omaha, because that's where U2 were playing. And Bill and Melinda Gates flew in for this thing. And these things are complicated. Like, I probably had them for like 45 minutes or so, and I had 7 setups I had to do in 45 minutes, right? 7 totally different setups in this ballroom. So it's like having 7 little mini studios all good to go, because you can't waste any time at all. And you can't have them sitting there and stick a needle in their face and then start twisting the dials. It's like totally not a good thing. It has to be so locked down. It's a little bit disappointing in a way, because that's a lot of what I do. What it's come to is you almost need images that are subject-proof, right? It's not like, oh, I want to get to know my subject and learn about them. It's like, I would love to do it. There's never the time. The kind of learning I get to do has to happen way before I meet them, and then it's all very intuitive and quick. You know what I mean? It really has to be. But, so my setups have to be subject-proof. Like, if they come in cranky, I'll still get a good picture, right? If they're wearing glasses, I'll still get a good picture. If they put on weight, I'll still get a good picture. Like, it has to be. It just has to be. So, in this case, the magazine, the folks at Time were great. I would rarely get any direction from them at all. They just say, you know, we need you to shoot, you know, Rudy Giuliani for the thing. It has to be really great. We'll see you on Tuesday. I mean, that kind of thing, pretty much, which is great. And I took it as seriously as anybody could. So I never took that kind of freedom lightly. It's the old thing, right? Somebody gives you the freedom to do whatever you want. You kill yourself, right? Or 10 times more. So, but in this case, they wanted something sort of Mount Rushmore-ish, in a way, like Line Over the Heads. And I set it up, and I thought it'd be good to have Bono on the front, because he's the person everybody knows, and that would be great. Except he shows up, and he's really short. He's like 5'2" or something. I don't know. He's really, really small. He wears like platform shoes. And, but he's got like a big head, like a bison head. That's pretty cool. He's like a huge bison, like a big head. And I put him there, and it literally looked like Bill and Melinda Gates were like standing in the next room. They looked so small. Really, it's just like two different things. So I had to put him in the middle, and we had to have him stand on apple boxes, right? And people are like, ooh, how do you ask him to do that? It's like, I think he knows he's short. go, oh, are those for me? It's like, you know, I think he's pretty cool, but he's probably, you know, it's okay. So that has to be set up and then really ready to go, really ready to go. An interesting thing about this, I'm just going to take a drink of water here, is this is one of the things that made me totally fall in love with digital against my better judgment. I was dragged kicking and screaming into digital stuff, I gotta tell you. Because it just didn't feel like it had any romance to it. You know what I mean? It just didn't. You know, I just felt like it's ones and zeros floating in space. You know, it's a leap of faith. There could be nothing there. Well, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't know. So, I was really worried about it. I was. And I'm a technical kind of guy, but just the same, I was really worried about it. And I have endless patience with people. Like, I'm never a yeller at my assistants or anybody. I'm like the nicest guy for sure. But I get absolutely apeshit when it comes to equipment that fails. Oh my God. I just get medieval on stuff like you cannot imagine. It's like, I pay for it, it has to work. That's its job, right? It has to work. I put batteries in it, it has to work. So I have my old cameras that I really liked a lot. The lenses I have are vintage lenses. Really, that's the only stuff I own is the older things, apart from like latest state-of-the-art digital stuff. Like my incomparable Canon cameras and lenses. But like that's lights and stuff I rent. I don't feel like I need to own them. So, in this case though, this would have been a picture that would have been hard to do with a 4x5, but I would have used one. Because to hold them all in focus, I would have had to swing the lens. For those of you who know about swinging the lens, and it allows you to hold focus. Right? So the focal plane being parallel to the film, the focal plane kind of goes on an angle. So in this case, it would kind of recede off at the same angle there, right? And let you hold focus. I used to do that a ton. Again, one of the many thousands of things I learned from Arnold. And you know, all the swings and tilts are things people do when you shoot tabletop stuff. You know, products or architectural things. Not so much with people. And he did it all the time, and it's very useful. So anyway, but 2 1/4 cameras and 35s, you can't really do that, right? You can't really do that kind of stuff. So you're kind of stuck, except for the incomparable Canon cameras. Well, the reason I switched to Canon from, there was some other brand, I can't remember what it was, but anyway, back in the day, was the Canon had 3 lenses that were the ones I wanted. And I'm not doing this as a pitch, even though they are, no, I'm not doing this as a pitch, but the truth is, they had 3 tilt shift lenses. Right? And if somebody's holding a gun to my head, I could only pick one lens forever. It would be the 24 tilt shift. That would be my lens. That's like my normal lens, right? I love that more than anything. Portrait lens, landscape lens, anything. It's manual focus, but I can do some stuff with that just is great. It gives me a lot of opportunities to do really creative things. So what I did for this, not to belabor it, but it's kind of a cool thing. I started this by putting it was an 85 or a 105, so a portrait lens, right? But I couldn't hold everybody in focus as close as I was, and I stopped all the way down, which I think was 22, and it still wasn't holding everybody in focus, right? The back person was a little soft, or the front person wasn't quite there, and I had them smooshed up together. Actually, it was my daughters posing as Bill Gates and Melinda Gates in the apartment. And it was bugging me because, well, gee, this is kind of stuck. So I thought, well, I'll use a wider lens and move it closer, but then the heads become different sizes, right? The front person's too big, the back one's too little, look kind of funny. So I put on the incomparable 90mm tilt shift lens thinking,